From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. In today's recording, we go over the breaking news about that big sums of money coming. Third stimulus MSC checks are landing. Fourth stimulus checks are landing. And sixth stimulus checks are the talk of Brussels. We'll go over the latest details as the president lands in Brussels to get ready for the biggest economic relief you've ever seen. It is the sixth stimulus package. We'll be looking at what's going on with inflation and interest rates that impacts your SS300. But then that sixth stimulus heating up across the board. A lot of money in today's recording. First, we'll be going over the latest details in the Build Back Better Act. Then, the latest details on the CR for stimulus. Another round for the President of the United States happening when he wants some more money for COVID. Then, of course, we'll be looking at the exciting details of that SS300. But is Jay Powell trying to derail it by bringing down inflation faster? I'll have the latest in this breaking news report. Then we look to what's happening with those add-ons. Fourth stimulus sending out checks, landing in people's hands. They have it today. Then the latest details about those MSC checks landing as well from third stimulus. Then we turn to Brussels as the President of the United States lands in Brussels. And the big money at issue is to curb the Putin-caused stimulus. It's huge. Oil, wheat, the president addressing wheat in today's address between those international leaders. The wheat crisis, very dramatic, and I've been detailing on this channel for 3 weeks now as the Russian-Ukraine war goes into month 2. But did the United States propose a wheat solution? As wheat prices are at a generational high in just a few weeks. But guess what? Oil prices surged to $127, coming down a little bit later today. Is this because the deal with Iran is not enough? All the latest details on that. It's sixth stimulus, it's fourth stimulus, it's third stimulus, MSC. A lot of checks, a lot of breaking news. We'll be going over all the incredible money you need to know. As those MSC, third stimulus checks land, fourth stimulus checks land, sixth stimulus heating up in Brussels, and back when the United States touches down next week, guess what also happens? Seventh stimulus. The incredible details breaking by the hour, by the minute, and they're all here. And of course, we'll have a preview of tonight's broadcast of Evenings LALATE in prime time at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. It's a big afternoon's broadcast. And from the shores of Santa Monica, California, let's get to it. It all starts right here, right now, on Afternoons. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a beautiful day. And here we go. The Build Back Better Act heating up. We'll have the latest details on that. And then CR for stimulus, with the president coming back with another spending bill because of what? COVID. Then we'll be turning to third stimulus, MSC checks. They've landed. Have you gotten it? It's monthly. It's stimulus, and it's huge, and it's not 6 months. It's on average 12 months, $2,000 a month. They've landed. Fourth stimulus checks, we'll be looking at that. Then, of course, those sixth stimulus, big money, as the president addressed exactly 100% when I've been reporting on this channel for no less than 3 weeks. You think he's watching? Hey, Joe, thank you for tuning in. He said it. He talked about wheat and why we need to include wheat in this new ancillary, this new major piece of legislation. I call it sixth stimulus. But get ready for something else. It's called seventh stimulus, and heated up last night in our Evenings LA broadcast. It is student loan debt forgiveness, and the president has an inherent deadline. He said it, I did it. All the latest details on Brussels back to the United States. It's a big day with a lot of breaking news. Get your pen and paper ready. We're going to go over third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh stimulus packages all happening at the same time. But first, we're going to start with the incredible Build Back Better Act, the fourth stimulus recon. It's a body of legislation that started in the House, went to the Senate. It's not a law, but when it does become a law, it'll have lots of checks for you. and the President of the United States and the Congress exchanging correspondences in the last 7 days to get it done. There's 3 clusters of checks and 3 add-ons of checks. To go over each of these checks, let's look at them right now. Upwards of $15,000 to $80,000 that they pay out. Remember that number, because we're going to go over that number in just a second with another body of legislation. Hazard pay is the first cluster, and $4,000 of elder care. What is in the Build Back Better Act? In prime time on Evenings LA, we're going to go over each of these checks in detail, but here's a preview of what you need to know. $4,000 of care for elders, $4,000 of care for young children. Hazard pay got in there for my essential workers. The CTC, 1 more year. The Pell Grant, $550 checks got in there. And then the money to buy a new electric vehicle. Yes, incredible, $12,500. Plus, they got the incredible money for the home repairs if you live in a low-income community. The first add-on of checks comes from Maxine Waters, just a little bit less than $25,000. For the purchase of your first home, wow, how do you get that first home? Tune into Evenings LA at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll go over more about this in prime time on Evenings LA. In that second cluster of checks, we have home repairs to weatherize your home and paid leave, which is $46,000 a year. It is a huge sum of money, and that is for individuals who need to take off from work. Huge amounts of checks. In that second add-on of checks, we got even more money. And that is from Bob Casey, just a little bit less than $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. In that third cluster of checks, we got seniors checks, free internet checks. And there's farmer checks. But the big checks, of course, are for seniors, lots of them. Dental, vision, hearing aid, lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, dental, and more. Which is part for the course when we're adding checks to this recon. And the other checks that they vow to add in there, of course, are the fourth stimulus Build Back Better Act checks of MSC. Monthly IRS stimulus checks. Now, take a breather. Get that pen and paper ready. Take notes right here. Fourth stimulus Build Back Better, not law. And these are MSC checks that would come from IRS. But later in this video, we have MSC checks landing in people's bank accounts this week and last week. From where? Third stimulus, so slightly different. So let's go over these MSC checks that would be and Build Back Better. Not a law yet, but it will go in there, and you would get it in addition to those third stimulus MSC checks coming up later. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get it. Double it. Family of 4, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security or rural benefits, you get as well. Also, adult dependents. $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for 6 months. Incredible. Now let's recap. That is fourth stimulus, Build Back Better MSC checks. Later in this video, we're going to go over the incredible great news, and you heard it at the top of the hour. In fact, you've been hearing on this channel since March 20th, 2022. Spring came this year with also the incredible news that monthly stimulus checks, MSCs, from third stimulus have landed in people's hands. They have them. Joe sent them out. Joe Biden sent them out. And viewers of this channel, the members of this channel, have got to them. How do you get them? Become a member. Go to the top of the chat and stay later in this video because it's coming up after the commercial break. That is different from what we just went over, which is fourth stimulus MSC checks. Those that landed this week are third stimulus MSC checks. We'll differentiate them more in a second. Now let's look at what's happening with that CR for stimulus. Very fascinating. The President of the United States watched, and you and I watched, when that continuing resolution passed 2 weeks ago, upwards of now 3 weeks ago, that got that $1.5 trillion of discretionary spending in there to give county stimulus. I don't cover county stimulus on this channel, but the President of the United States is not happy. Why? Because he did not get money in there for COVID. And guess what's happening? A subvariant of Omicron is spreading internationally. It is in the United States, folks. And it is very, very disconcerting. It will be it will be the dominant strain in just a blink of an eye. So the president's coming back with another piece of legislation, another version of CR. I don't know which one number you call it, CR 5.0, because we had 1 and 2. I'm just losing track at this point. So the president's coming back with another CR for COVID money. Well, there's always that opportunity to get a $2,000 stimulus check in there as well. We'll see what happens when we see that piece of legislation. We haven't seen it yet. What we have seen is that SS 300. Let's go over the details of that. Joe Biden, when running for president of the United States, and then when elected as president of the United States at joebiden.com, promised a reform to the Social Security Administration. It's the fifth stimulus package. It has not happened yet. That's why it's likely after 6th and potentially after 7th. I'll show you those stimulus packages in just a second. See how they don't go in order? So what we've been looking at is the opportunity for Joe to make the call to swap cola for inflation right now. It only needs a phone call right now. And if you swap cola for inflation, your benefits will go up $200 a month. Not just this month, not just this year, lifetime. Because inflation is tracking its highest price point of a generation, 8% starting last December, January 8%. If you're looking at the 10-year Treasury note, if you're looking at the bond traders in the last week, as I have and you have, as I've told you on this channel, they've been trading up that 10-year Treasury note. Why? Because they think inflation is actually higher. They think it's tracking higher. Well, what's important to note is that Joe needs to make that phone call now, because inflation will come down. And if it comes down, then you don't get $200 a month. You get $175, $150, depending on when it comes down. Remember, if he locks in that inflation right now, you get that $200 a month. Why would it come down? It would come down because of this guy. His name is Jay Powell. And his job is to reduce inflation by raising interest rates. How does he do it? FOMC meetings, one per month over the next few months. He initially gave guidance that perhaps 5 months of interest rate spikes. Then he did 6 months of interest rate spikes. Announced at the FOMC meeting last week. 6 months of interest rate spikes. What did he do? Quarter basis point, aka 25 basis point, giving guidance of 175 basis points over the next year. That's 125 times 6. Quarter basis point is another way of saying 25 basis points. That happened last week. Then we had the governors under Jay Powell, like Bullard and Wallace, saying 2 week, we need to do more aggressive. There's 2 ways to approach this: soft landing, hard landing. Soft landing is easing into this quarter. Hard landing is hitting it like a hammer, doing half, 50 basis point, bringing down inflation dramatically overnight. I don't subscribe to hard, nor does Jay Powell, nor does Wall Street. But some analysts and governors like Bullard and Wallace said, come in hard. What happened? This week, Jay Powell pivoted, major pivot, and said maybe we need to do a little bit harder. What is my analysis situation? Let me tell you what my analysis situation is. Jay Powell's gotten it really wrong, and a lot of Wall Street analysts do not have real big faith in what he does anymore. Let me tell you what you mean. They do not believe that he has the tools to bring down inflation, and nor do I, and that it's a lot of talking down inflation. That Jay Powell has the ability to talk down inflation because he's the Fed head, that people really watch him. But it's not like it really was before the pandemic. Why? Because he got it really wrong. He said inflation was going to be temporary, transitory, that fancy word for December 2021. It wasn't. It wasn't. I told you it was not going to be. He said it was going to be 1 to 2, 3, 4%. Oh, boy, did he get it wrong. I said it was 8% in last year. I predicted all last year was going to be 8% in December 2021, and it was not going to be temporary. I got it right, and a lot of other Wall Street analysts got it right, and he got it very wrong. Then it didn't come down, and it's actually potentially tracking higher. Then he said we can do quarter. Now a lot of people saying quarter ain't going to work. What is Wall Street saying and what I'm saying? None of these tools are going to work. He's not going to be able to bring down inflation because guess what? It's not caused by these things. It's caused by, yes, supply chain, China and Russia, their lack of their products getting to market in the swift way in which they would normally is causing inflation. And then raising interest rates is not going to solve that. So with that, what is the equation? The equation is that a lot of people think that Jay Powell won't be able to do anything between now and May, and then he's going to be a little bit frustrated. And they don't think he may get it down to where he looks to get it by December. What's my takeaway? My takeaway is the following. One, Jay Powell a month ago said that he wanted to get inflation down to 4% in December. That would be another $100 on top of your existing benefits, because 4% inflation is about $100. Remember, your benefits are reassessed every December. That would be SS 100. If Joe makes that swap from COLA to inflation right now, you could reassess an additional $200 based upon 8%. Am I worried about this month? No. Am I worried about April? I was initially worried for late April. I'm no longer worried. I don't think inflation is going to fall dramatically by late April. But May, I'm a little bit skittish. So Joe, make the call. Hashtag Joe, make the call. Swap COLA for inflation right now. Don't wait, because I am worried about what Jay Powell said last week. He wants inflation down to 1.9% by December. I just laugh. You ain't going to do it, Jay. I don't think you have the tools to get it to 1.9. But if he does, let's say he does, then that's only $50 more per month or $20 more per month for your benefits in December. That doesn't work. That's SS20. Yeah, we're not looking for SS20. We're looking for SS300. So Joe, make that swap for COLA for inflation right now. Now, let me go over the other big exciting news, and it's purely delightful news. The delightful news is that the big checks have now landed. Joe's checks have gone out. Sorry, no SS's with this one. This is third stimulus. MSC checks have landed. Yes, third stimulus, not fourth stimulus. Third stimulus, going back to 2021, was passed. And now MSC monthly stimulus checks have landed. It's in addition, yes, in addition to that third stimulus check you got of $1,400. And how much is it? Oh boy, it is a lot. It is averaging at $2,000 a month for 12 months. It is astronomically wonderful. It is more than the Build Back Better Act proposes to give you, and it's addition to that as well. Build Back Better, of course, proposing 6 months of checks. It's tracking this MSC of third stimulus at 12 months of checks, and it's landed. I'll show you how to get it. It's coming up in the second half of this video. It's not something you can stand by the mailbox and say, has it landed? Has anyone else gotten it? No, you have to do something to get it. Then we'll be looking at fourth stimulus checks. The huge news is that it has landed. Wow. Well, there was an ancillary piece of law. Yes, it became law 3 weeks ago. This Friday will be 4 weeks ago. Let's take a breath back. This is why we need that pen and paper. The Build Back Better Act, which we went over early in this video, fourth stimulus, has not become law by Congress. But shortly after that, 4 weeks ago this Friday, the president made law himself an ancillary piece of legislation to fourth stimulus, which pays $15,000 to $80,000 of checks. As soon as it became law, I showed the viewership of how to get it. And now it is landing in people's hands. $60,000, $80,000, yes. And others are getting those big sums of checks across the board. How do you get it? It's coming up in the second half of this video. Also coming up in the second half of this video, we'll be going over the huge sixth stimulus push of those checks heating up in April. The president's overseas in Brussels. Why? Among other issues, to talk about sixth stimulus. And guess what he did? He talked about it. In fact, it makes you a little scary. Is someone watching me? Joe, are you watching me? Because guess what? I've been telling you every single video, every single day, since day one of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the biggest issue for sixth stimulus, besides oil, is wheat. Guess what he talked about today? Wheat. He talked exactly what I said he needs to talk about. And all the latest comments on that. Plus, if you tuned into last night's show of Eating's LA in Primetime, boy, was it a watch show. Hugely watched show. And guess what? It unveiled, yes, the seventh stimulus package. It's happening in May, says the White House. It is for student loan debt forgiveness. It won't pay out, but it will come to a forefront and make a determination on whether it reverts or extends. All the latest details on seventh stimulus. Yes, by April, you will see third, fourth, and sixth at the same time. And by May, we will have third, fourth, sixth, and seventh. It's going to be a big summer, folks. We're just getting started. All the big details coming up the second half of this video. This is why you need a pen and paper to keep a track of all this. It's a big second half, and boy, the heat is on as Southern California experiences a new heat wave in March. I feel for the rest of the country that is now still enduring some snow. But boy, we have a big second half. Get your pen and paper ready. We're going to go over all these big, incredible checks. It's a big day. But first, here's a little bit about the members community page. Become a member during the commercial break so you get all these incredible checks. I'll see you back in 60 seconds. As a big afternoon's broadcast heats up, see you back in 60 seconds with all these incredible checks. From the shores of Santa Monica to the shores of the Black Sea. It's a big afternoon, and we're just getting started. Stay with me, stay informed, and stay with all the big sums of money. As Afternoons LA goes into its second half, see you back in 60 seconds with all the incredible news. And first, here's a little bit about the member community page. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them
and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues in a big second half of Afternoons LA. What a day it is. Boy, a lot of breaking news that you need to know, and we're going to go over all those incredible checks. We'll be turning to Brussels, as the President of the United States is overseas, to get that sixth stimulus locked up. It is the trifecta of the progressives of Germany, France, and the United States. And guess what? He addressed exactly what I've been talking about in sixth stimulus in the last few hours. Wheat, all the latest comments from the President of the United States, and a preview of tonight's Evening's LA broadcast. Then we'll be looking to, yes, 7 stimulus package. As the President returns from Germany, returns from Belgium, guess what? He will be addressing the 7th stimulus package. So says his chief of staff. All the latest details on that. It is, yes, student loan debt forgiveness. But first, we're going to turn to the incredible great news about third stimulus and fourth stimulus. It's huge and it's astronomical. And it is landed. Let's go over what's going on. If you know this channel, I've taught the viewership of this channel that stimulus packages overlap all the time. At the time of today's recording, 2 different packages are paying 2 different checks to viewers of this channel, and they've gotten them. Third stimulus MSC checks, that's third, not fourth, have now landed in the viewership's hands. I go over those in just 1 second. But first I'm going to go over the fourth stimulus checks that have landed in their hands as well. Fourth stimulus got an add-on, and that add-on became law. Did not need a vote, did not need Congress. All it needed was a pen of the paper and Joe Biden's signature. It became law 4 weeks ago when the President of the United States signed into law a homeowner's grant. The homeowner's grant was not picked up in broadcast media, print media, so you heard it nowhere. And you'll likely never hear it because it's now 4 weeks old news. What's at issue is it's still paying out. And it went live 4 weeks ago. So let's go over all the incredible great news of this. The membership of this channel have gotten it, and others are now still applying and getting their applications in. And the applications are still open everywhere except potentially in one state that's now on a waiting list. This is $15,000 to $80,000 of checks. Yes, there's that number again. $15,000 to $80,000 of checks. Number one, it is paid out to individuals with the same income qualification as a third stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 less, you can qualify. Married couple, $150,000 less, you can qualify. Congratulations. Now, if you're on benefits, can you get it? Absolutely. So long as you're within the income qualification I just went over and you own a home. That is the last qualification. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, veterans benefits, you can get these $15,000 to $80,000. If you're a renter, then stay with me because I got you MSC checks coming up right after this as well. So here we go. What is this? It's the homeowner's grant. The full name of it is released to the members. How do you get this money? You become a member. The link is at the top of the chat and under the pinned comment. In the membership newsletter, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I send out the newsletter. And in the newsletter features all the details you need to know about this grant. First, it's a grant, meaning you get the money and you do not have to pay it back. It is not income. It's not taxable. It would not disqualify you for benefits. It's not a loan, and it does not have a credit check. So, the homeowner's grant. Then, under there, it goes over the income qualification, we just went over. Then it goes over what it pays for. Great things like home repairs and property taxes. Then it goes over everything else you need to know. And finally, it gives you the link. The web link. You go right in and click a button. You go right to the federal site that then sends you to your state, and you apply. And boy, you want to apply right away. Here's what's going on. It's been live for now 4 weeks, and all the countless thousands and thousands of viewers of this channel that has now amassed over 150 million views in a year and a half, a YouTube record, have gotten their applications on file and have gotten that wonderful message, complete. When your application is complete, then guess what? All you have to do is wait to get funded. And viewers have gotten funded, like Mark has gotten over $66,000. On top of the $100,000 he had gotten from Third Stimulus in recent months from this channel as well. So what do? You go to the top of the chat or under the pinned comment, become a member, number one. Number two, watch for that membership newsletter, which comes Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. The YouTube alert system sends you the membership newsletter. It's not sent by email. It's not sent by LALATE alert. It's not sent by Waveable Pig or Waveable Check or Waveable Lobster Dance. And there you go. Become a member today, as the countless thousands of other viewers have. Now, the program is live everywhere, almost. In some states, they're about to roll out the application. Pounce. First, as soon as you get that application on file, do it. You don't have to be behind on your bills. You don't have to think about it, and you don't have to make a phone call. You need to get the application on file as quickly as possible. Every day that passes, someone else in your state gets ahead of you, and thousands would get ahead of you every state in your state that you delay. That is the 4 stimulus checks, which have now landed. Law. $15,000 to $80,000, and congratulations to the members of the channel who have gotten their 4th stimulus add-on checks. These are in addition, again, to the Build Back Better Act checks, which will become a law at a later date when Congress makes that part of 4 stimulus law. All right, let's go now to those MSC checks, which have also landed in members' hands. MSC checks, these are 3rd stimulus MSC checks. We're going backwards, I know. Confusing? I'm simplifying it for you. 3rd stimulus became a law in 2021. You may have gotten a 3rd stimulus check of $1,400, but you can get these in addition. These are an addition round of checks. Who are they for? They're for all of you, practically. Renters and also homeowners. So yes, here's another opportunity for homeowners. So what do? You want to do several things. You want to get a pen and paper. Number 2, you want to take notes. And number 3, you want to become a member. But more importantly, follow along, because I'm going to go over incredible details of how this happened. It was purely by accident that this has happened. What happened? In December 2020, I taught the viewership of this channel how to get money for rent, utilities, mortgages, and other items when there wasn't a lot of the money around. We got $250,000 in December 2020. There was no second stimulus package. The first had just ended. But guess what I really had? It was probably the best document I ever had on this channel. It was a preview, an exclusive preview of a piece of legislation, which I coined the expression 3rd stimulus, just like I've coined the expression for 4th, 6th, and 7th. You haven't heard these anywhere else, or 5th. And what was that? It eventually became the American Rescue Plan, the 3rd stimulus package of January 2021. And I said, my goodness, folks, there's a lot of money in here for the same item I'm getting you right now. So what I want to do in December 2020 is I want to train you how to get this money really well. So when it becomes law in January 2021, you're going to be able to pounce. And they did. I said that the viewers can get on average $15,000. The viewers did it. They got on average $45,000 over and over and over. Massive sums of money gotten by viewers, $100,000 across the board. And I said, my goodness. Now, what happened in the months that followed? Well, what happened was I would tell viewers get around that spring. They got around 3 or 4 months. And then that summer, another round, 3 or 4 months. And then that December, another 3 or 4 months. And in recent days, I said, get another round, 3 or 4 months. Viewers said, why do another round? Why not just do an MSC out of it? A what? Make this into an MSC? How? Instead of doing a round, just do a whole year of it. Oh, what a brilliant idea. Not my idea, the members' idea. And here we go. The success stories started to roll in, and they came in just the last 14 days. Lindsay Ramirez, March 21st, $1,500 MSC checks for 12 months. Congratulations. She's getting two checks per month, amounting to $1,500. One for $500 for utilities and $1,000 for rent for 12 months. Now, let's just take a breather there. 12 months of $1,500 checks, that is more than the 4th stimulus MSC IRS checks, which are 6 months, $1,000 a pop. These are in addition to 4th stimulus, and boy, this is why the viewership of this channel wins. We have Olivia Summers, who's getting 4 years of MSC checks. You heard me right, 4 years. That's not a misstatement. Amounted to $150,000. We have David Allen. This is all on March 21st, who got 9 months of $1,500. We have Mr. Bean, who got 9 months, amounting to $16,000. We have Annabelle, who got 6 months, amounting, I don't remember her amount. I think it was about $15,000. We have Michelle, who got several months, which I believe was on last Saturday. The stories the reports keep on coming in. If you had a story, of course, send it to me on social media, featured on air. We have countless viewers who days earlier did the same thing. The 15th of March, Johnny getting $26,000 of MSC checks over 8 months. Incredible. And then we had Brian Graves from Toledo, Ohio, getting 8 months of MSC checks. And we had Brian Ostry, who got 1 year of MSC checks. We had Simba getting $6,000, which is about 6 months of checks. Melly Peer getting $10,000 approximately, March 9th. That's about 8 months of checks. You got the situation. You understand what's going on here. So how do you do it? You get a pen and paper ready, and here we go. You're going to reach out to a series of places to get these sums of money. You don't have to be behind on the money, and yes, you need to make the effort. So get that pen and paper ready. Let's go over all those incredible checks right now, and where do you get them? You want to take notes. Here we go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city house authority, your county hall, and your county house authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. There are 3 things you must do. You must reach out to all 6 places. You must put in multiple applications. And, well, here, I used to say, this is an old graphic. I used to say do multiple rounds because I said 3 to 4 months. Well, I guess that's not the case anymore. Try to get at least 12 months of checks. Go and bounce, Purple Hawks. There you go. And get that membership newsletter. This features the membership newsletter. And the membership newsletter features more about this with other places to reach out to, like the nonprofits, upwards of 6 nonprofits approximately. The average view of this channel getting about $45,000. Do it right now. Do not wait. These are huge sums of money, and you deserve it. You deserve these MSC checks. Pounce, Purple Hawks, and get them across the board. And there you go. Get that membership, become a member today and get those big sums of money. Now, let's go over a couple things you need to know about that. Number 1, you notice how I said reach out to a lot of places. So number 1, there is no single application. It's not like you push a button and you get all these MSC checks, number 1. Number 2, you got to make the effort, as the viewership of the channel has made the effort. Number 3, you got to follow along exactly like how I said. So don't call up your city, say, hey, I want an MSC check. That's not what I said. I said pick up the phone and ask for rent assistance because of COVID. So don't change the language at all. Moreover, what I also want to say to you, because I've seen a couple of these comments, just a few, is that you may have come into watching this channel when I started covering its second stimulus. I didn't cover first stimulus because the channel didn't exist then. That's how new this channel is. What I want you to know is that for I came in at the end of first stimulus, I guess you would say. I came in at the end of first stimulus. I was doing first stimulus for EIDL and PUA. What I want you to know is that first stimulus was all about picking up the phone or applying. And that is where the huge sums of money were for first stimulus. You may never have gotten a first stimulus check, or maybe you only got, $1,200 for first stimulus. The average viewer of this channel from first stimulus got about, I would say about 160,000, 180,000. Did you get that? No, you maybe didn't, because first stimulus was for picking up the phone and applying. EIDL, PUA, UI, these were the big sums of money. First stimulus was all about picking up the pen and calling and getting these sums of money. Along the way, when we saw third stimulus, because remember, second didn't become a law, when third stimulus became sort of automatic, and you just saw a whatever it was, $1,400 check land after that $600 check, you just sort of got used to doing much of nothing. Well, now where we are now in 2022 is that these are big checks, folks. These are 12 months of checks. These aren't measly $600 checks. These are massive, $10,000, $20,000, $40,000, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000. These are big checks. They don't just land in the mailbox. No one's automatically sending you an $80,000 check. So that is why you need to make the effort. You need to make the effort. And if you want a smaller check, then you can just sort of wait around for Build Back Better Act to become a law, and then watch how things roll out, and many of the Build Back Better checks are application-based as well. So there you go. All right, so that is third and fourth. Now let's go over all the other details you need to know, which is that fifth stimulus, which is for seniors, not law yet, not bill yet. That's likely coming later. Build Back Better Act, bill, but not law yet. That's likely coming longer on the equation. But the next thing to happen at the same time as third and fourth is six. Yes, the sixth stimulus package will heat up as early as April. Why? Because France's President Macron was up for re-election, and it's caused the third sixth stimulus package caused by a trifecta between France, Germany, and the United States. The president is progressive, the chancellor of Germany progressive, and Macron progressive. And what's at issue? It's Putin-caused stimulus. Let me go over the details of this. First stimulus package was because of COVID. Second was to be because of COVID. Third was coming out of COVID. Fourth is coming out of COVID. But six is dealing with Putin. What's at issue is that Putin has caused economic disruption. And that economic disruption is not just the oil industry, it's a lot more. And guess what? Day one of the Russian invasion, I said that the sixth stimulus will be done. Well, it wasn't day one, I guess week one. When those progressives, Germany, France, and United States met and said, we're going to do a sixth stimulus package. And I said one of the things they need to address is wheat. And guess what they addressed today? Wheat. Think they're watching? I think they are. I just got to give you a reflection right here. There is no broadcast financial news that is covering wheat and the economic disruption of it, except here. And guess what? When the President of the United States started addressing wheat disruption today, suddenly they all covered it. Where were you 3 weeks ago when I was covering it? If you remember this channel, you get the membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. And the first line of it is the wheat prices. Because guess what? You can't afford $7 a loaf of bread. You cannot afford $7 a loaf of bread. And you can't afford it for 1 month, let alone into the month of May. We go into recession. So that is why six stimulus is needed. Not just for oil, but wheat prices out of control. Also grain, also Vladimir Putin's potential default. Here's a preview of what's coming up tonight in Evening's LALATE broadcast. The President of the United States met in Belgium, and he discussed the sixth stimulus package. Now, remember, as recorded yesterday, I told you that the President's meeting in Brussels is really to send a message militarily to Putin. It's not an economic summit. So you weren't going to hear a lot of economics. You weren't going to hear the word stimulus, of course. That's a word I use on this channel. But you were going to hear potential some economic discussions. And the president did it. He did it. I was really shocked when I saw the article. It's as though Brian Deasy says, you know what? I guess that LA's right. I got to watch him more often. So the President of the United States in Brussels, when meeting and discussing military legions in battling Vladimir Putin, if he goes after those NATO territories, discussed wheat. Higher wheat prices are a big issue, and the President of the United States addressed them in that economic summit, in one of the many of those meetings in the last 24 hours. What did the President say? The President said that that wheat has been disrupted and that there's a lot of things to be done. And among the many things to be done is the situation disrupting all these economic issues at hand. Let's look at some of those comments as well. Well, what happened was that the president basically said, you know what, we have a lot of things to do. Did the president say what he was supposed to do? The president announced that he's committing new funds for global food security being caused by Russian invasion, Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The U.S. government dedicated $11 billion over the next 5 years to address the government's Feed the Future. And the lion's share of Ukraine's grain exports go to Africa and Asia, and they've been disrupted. And so the American funds will be deployed to those countries that have been impacted across the board. Do I think this is the right approach? It's a start, but it's not the right approach. And so what's at issue? What is exactly what I've been covering over the last few days. That there's two prongs to six stimulus. Our economy and our partner allies' economy. If we don't stabilize our partner allies' economy, we go into recession. If we just stabilize us and they go into recession, they pull us into recession. And I told you no less than the last 3 weeks that we don't buy Russian wheat. We make our own Russian wheat, or Ukraine wheat. We make our own, but our wheat prices are growing out of control. Why? Because the farmers of the Black Sea in Ukraine are defending the country. They're not tending the soils. So what did the White House do? The White House seemingly like watching this channel, heard me say potentially, or understood, that 80% of the wheat supply from Ukraine, 80% of the wheat for those countries in the Middle East comes from Ukraine, and now they don't have wheat, and it's a major troubling issue. So what did the U.S. do? They pivoted and got wheat to those partner countries that are impacted. I had told you that that Egypt, 80% of their wheat comes from Ukraine. So the United States now dedicated wheat to Ukraine and Asia from its Fund the Fish Futures initiative, $11 billion over the next 5 years. Let's be very clear. This is not a check. So I don't hear anyone give me a message saying we're sending checks to Africa. No, we are just dedicating something that was already a law for many, many years to ensure that there's food stabilization in our partner allies. Now, is that enough? It's not enough. So here is the second part of the story, is that the farmers have another problem, and the problem is twofold. One, a series of new reports today suggest that the farmers are not getting the benefit of these higher wheat prices. Let's explain. You go to the market, you cannot afford $6 a loaf. That's why we need a 6 stimulus package. Are the farmers in the United States making more money because wheat is going up in price? Remember, if there's less wheat because Ukraine is not harvesting wheat, then the farmers who sell their wheat in the United States get more money for it. Are the farmers getting richer? No, they're getting poorer. How can they get poor? Because their products to make the wheat are not available either. Yes, so higher wheat prices are not making farmers more rich because the cost of fuel and fertilizer. If you see my tweets, I've joked about this as well. The cost of fuel and fertilizer is going through the roof. Number one, to drive the tractor truck, you gotta have oil, and the oil is going through the roof. That's number one. Fertilizer, guess who's the biggest provider of manure in the world? Yeah, you can just guess. Putin. Putin is manure. Putin is manure, which is now embargoed. So guess what? If you want manure, it's harder to get because of Putin. So now the earnings reports suggest that corporate farmers and mom and pop farmers are really taking a bad hit. And wheat production has been steadily down in the recent years, down 35% year after year since the 2008 peak. And now many of the companies are corporate Wall Street analysts are worried that some of the big corporate wheat dependent products like General Mills, Kellogg's, and Modell's may take a big economic hit, and Deere and Co. as well. Deeply problematic. Takeaway, 6 stimulus is happening. So 6 stimulus is the big stimulus package to provide economic relief to all these issues. It starts with oil, it goes to wheat, and you saw how I went on to wheat in incredible detail. Tonight on Evenings LA, I'll go more into the incredible details of the 6 stimulus package. Now, let me tell you what 6 stimulus would be and when it would happen. It would be debt financing by the federal government, debt financing by the German government and the French government, and any of the other partner allies like UK that would do it as well. And they would do that to ensure our economies don't go into recession. So that's a 6 stimulus package. Now, 7 stimulus was unveiled on this channel last night, March 22nd, 2022. And what was that? It's student loan debt forgiveness. Student loan debt forgiveness, which seemed to come out of the grave. It seemed like it was dead. And if you're new to this channel, you see how in depth these shows are, and it's so in depth that I'm trying to keep track of which item it is, and it's item number 9. I literally go over 9 stimulus packages per show. At the moment, it was 4, then it went to 6. Now it's 9. What is this 9 number? The 9 number is that the 7th stimulus package will happen as early as May. Now, let me explain what's at issue. It does not mean there's a check in May. It means that the issue of the student loan debt forgiveness may get resolved by May 2nd. Who created that deadline? Not me, the White House, Chief of Staff Ron Klain, who says the following, that the President of the United States will make a decision by that date to either continue the freeze on repaying student loan debt or do student loan debt forgiveness. Yes, there's currently a freeze on repaying student loan debt, but that freeze ends about May 2nd. So Ron Klain says the president's going to make a determination whether to extend the freeze, meaning you don't have to repay it, so that the president can think about this a little bit longer, or start to forgive some student loan debts. A new series of reports that was featured on Evenings LA tonight suggests the president of the United States may have executive power abilities, like Liz Warren and Chuck Schumer has always said that he does, to forgive student loan debts with an existing body of legislation. It's an act that has been on the books for many, many years. And then, if Congress tries to undo that, there would not be enough Republicans to undo the action of the president. Meaning they could call the vote, but they would not have enough votes to undo it. Really fascinating. So I want to see if the president wants to call the cards on that one. Really fascinating. Finally, a takeaway, which is important to know, is that there is a lot of stimulus packages happening right now. Third paying out, MSCs. Fourth stimulus paying out. Six heating up in early April. SS300 right on the edge of the finish line. Hashtag Joe make the phone call. And seventh, according to Ron Klain, going to a determination of its future on May 2nd. Yes, you're going to see a big few weeks on this channel. I really appreciate all the incredible thoughts and all the incredible wishes. And personally, I want to thank all of you. Last night's Evenings LA in primetime at 5 o'clock was one of the best live chats I've seen in a very long time. Why was it so good? First, everyone's really kind. Second, everyone clearly said they had a pen and paper in their hand when they were watching the show. Viewers said, I had a pen and paper. I have a pen and paper in my hand. Asking brilliant questions, asking really good questions when the topic comes up. If you're new to this channel and you'll watch Evenings LA tonight, remember, we go over, here you go. I don't know if I can even hold it. There you go. 9 different stimulus packages per recording. So if the recording starts and it's 30 seconds of the recording, don't say, what day am I getting a check? Or get right to that third stimulus check, because give us a time, because we got a lot to cover in that 1 hour broadcast. Stay with the 1 hour broadcast throughout, because your check, your stimulus package, whichever one it is, will be addressed somewhere in the scope of a 1 hour broadcast. That's why it's 1 hour. That is coming up later today. It's at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern, and 7 o'clock Central. Meantime, have you become a member? Go to the top of the chat and under the pinned comment. Become a member so you get that $15,000 to $80,000 fourth stimulus check, and then learn about all the MSC checks you can get from third stimulus, as countless other viewers have as well. From the shores of Santa Monica to the shores of the Black Sea, I send my prayers to the wishes of the people of Ukraine as the battleground continues to now go into the second month. I was one of the first that said this is not a 2-day war. It's going to be a multi-month war. It potentially could be a multi-year war. But I will stay on topic. I stand with Ukraine, and I stand with the focus on your big money. All those details and more coming up in later broadcasts, and that is Evenings LA. See you here at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with all those incredible details. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.